Welcome to Carry the Flag Podcast, a podcast for ordinary people that carry something bigger than themselves. Today, I've got Cass Glaspey. Did I say that correct, Cass?
Yep, you got it.
Glaspey on here. And she is a combat veteran to RUCKer, to mother hearing the worst thing that you ever want to hear from yourself. Listen to this story. It's incredible. I had to have Cass on here for you guys to hear her story. Like I said, she went from a combat veteran mother to hearing that her son has been hit by a truck. And this is Cass's story, and I'm pumped to have her on. Cass, thank you for being on here.
Thanks.
Hopefully I got all that correct and we can hear your
great.
story.
Yep. Okay.
Yeah. So start it off I said, I just want to hit real quick, like how you grew up, how you got into the military. You started a great rucking, Mother RUCKer, and then this incident happened and it just kind of changed your whole world.
Yep. Yeah. So, I was born and raised in Washington State. My dad, he was very much like a Marine. He was raised by a Marine. It's like, if you're not bleeding to death, you're not dying. So I was already, sorry, I have to edit that out.
No, you're
I was
good.
already
You're
a
good.
pretty tough cookie growing up. I had to rise to the occasion, and even if no one was around, I had to figure it out, which is a beautiful thing. It's kind of like, nowadays giving your kids some sticks and saying, go outside and play. They don't know what to do with it. I will build a fort. You know what I mean? So, my childhood, my dad and my brother pretty much, and my grandparents, and military was really big, very patriotic family. And I think my heart was more of, I was like I was in science class when the Twin Towers were hit. And I remember seeing pictures of kids over there after, we started going to war, and seeing pictures of kids like being blown up and people getting hurt and our guys getting hurt. And I was like, you know what? I can bring peace to that. I can bring some heart to that. And so my heart was in it in the way I'm going to go save everybody. And that's what it was. And that sounds kind of crazy because I was really good. I was like sniper shot. I was really good. I was like the PT stud. And so I had the agility, I had the skills, but my heart was so much bigger than my brain. And so going over there, my first tour was Operation Iraqi Freedom. I was stationed in Fort Hood, Texas, which was beautiful, but I'm from Washington, so the sun was ridiculous. Oh my God. I was constantly putting on sunscreen. I got sunburned every day. But when I went over there, it opened my eyes. I was super naive. Like I said,
Okay.
open heart. I'm going to make the world a better place. I'm going to do this. And the government has a lot of control over the choices you make when you're in the military. And I think that was hard for me because I wanted to, there's things where you can't cross the boundaries, you can't cross the lines, and you got to kind of do procedure. You got to stay on mission. You know what I mean? And there's so many.
Yeah.
I wanted, when we're rolling through the red zone on a Bradley, and I wanted to grab those kids and I'm going to take you home with me and you're going to be safe. You know what I mean? And that sounds kind of hippy dippy because it is, but I was attached to a scout unit. Those guys were amazing. They saved my life, threw me into a barricade a couple times. I remember the first time I had to go red. I was like, oh shit. That was the scariest moment of my life. Getting dropped in the middle of a sand pit with 360 rounds and a neck guard and a side plate. And I was like, okay. And I really want to give hats off to my dad because he was such a tough cookie, and that kind of instilled in me. And I could deal with all that stuff. In basic, when they're screaming at you, get off the fucking button. I'm just like, whatever, man, I got this. You ain't phasing me any, right? So I did really well at war. The only thing that it didn't do well at is when I got back, I realized, wow, I shifted really hard.
Gotcha.
Every part of me shifted. You get what I mean? The things that you see over there, war is war. It is scary. It is violent. It is uncomfortable. And in every way, shape, and form, that has a lot to do with how, and I was young. So growing up and seeing that, it becomes a part of you and you shift.
Yeah.
And you don't know it until someone points it out, until you come to a situation where you're like, holy cow. And I felt like my nervous system was always in fight or flight. But I thought that was normal. And it was like that as a child because my dad was such a hard ass. So I was always like, you know what I mean? I never really knew what true peace was. Yeah. So
Wow,
Yeah.
that's that I think like you said, is you hit that, you know, on the head right there is like you're always in fight or flight. And me being a firefighter, like
Yeah.
I guess we don't realize that until you get older and you start
Yeah.
recognizing it and you're like, wow, like we
Yeah.
you may be having downtime, but you're still, in the fight mode, you know?
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, and I guess what I wanted to kind of go back on was you said when you were over there, it opened your eyes. What did what did it open your eyes to? Because I know a lot of people, and kind of things that we struggle with nowadays is a lot of people we take a lot of this stuff for granted. So probably being over there, you probably were like, wow, like this is this is a whole different world here.
Oh, very much.
Can you
Yeah.
talk
Yeah.
about kind of what
I would say the first eye opener was that, and I don't know if this is gonna be okay or if you're gonna have to edit this out. Um, so
you're just fine.
everybody so the world, everybody,
Yeah.
there's good and bad in everybody and everything. I don't care
Mhm.
if you're military, I don't care if you're law enforcement, which I've been, I don't care if you are a nun, like everybody has every day, just like you talk about, every day you can make a choice. We make choices. Whether we're in a system, whether we're part of a government, whether we're a part of a church, like a family. And over there, I felt, like I said, I was not in my head, I was in my heart. And a lot of people were in their head. I'm the best, I'm the fastest, I'm gonna kill everybody, I'm gonna do this. And I felt like I was like constantly kind of battling. There was this one specific soldier, he was my NCOIC, his name was Wiggins. My best friend, I adored this guy, and there was every time we went through checkpoints, there was like kiddos, and I would give out candy, and I would do my best to put a smile on their face because they were all so scared. And I'm sitting there, walking around with an M4 in their face because I had to.
Yeah.
Didn't feel right, but at that time, it was like, well, I want to protect myself too. But anyways,
Of
so
course. Of course.
what opened my eyes was there was this young boy named Omar, and every time he'd come through checkpoint 12, he would have the biggest smile and he felt so safe around us. And his dad was not a good dude. He was a general. He did things with the IAs that I knew wasn't good. And there was things that I could not do, right? Like you can't shoot unless you're shot out. I was like, fuck that. Someone shoots at me first. I don't want to die. There are these rules that we had to play,
Yeah. Yeah.
and Omar, he was just a sweet boy. And every time I'd see him, he'd have bruises on his face. And eventually my terp, I was like, what's going on here? And I wanted to protect him. And there's only so much I could do because I only saw him like every couple of months. And the 6-month mark, we went out into the red zone. And I asked Wiggins, I was like, hey, can we stop by Omar's place and make sure they got hand sanitizer and things like that? Because they didn't have anything. And his mom, she was so sweet. She would give him my terp, which I got severe diarrhea, by the way. She made me naan for the first time in my life. And it was still good. But I was like, you didn't wash your hands, did ya? That was awful. But anyways, I went to go see Omar, and his dad had beat him to death. His dad. Because Omar was constantly, he would like jump like at the top of the roof and he would scream for us and he would run out there. And he didn't care. And we tried so hard to get his mom to be a terp because we would make deals, right?
Yeah.
And have
Yeah.
them come over and save their family. And the terps, that's what they did, right? And some of them didn't make it because they were trying to get out
Yeah.
of the red zone. So they were, and maybe I'm giving too much and you can edit this as you choose.
No,
But um,
Cass, I
yeah.
want
So
this to be this is raw. This is
yes.
what, this is what I push my brand off of is like
Okay.
this
Good.
is the real stuff. Like
Good.
I'm this is amazing
And
to
this is
hear.
my
This
heart.
is the things that people need to hear, like the truth and everything. And
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. So,
So
anyway, so he had beat him to death. The terp had told me and Wiggins,
wow.
and that smashed a part of me. The light in me went from I started going from my heart to my head. So the last 6 months of my tour, I wasn't necessarily, but I was so on edge and just disgusted with humans. Like how could you
Yeah.
do that? And obviously I saw more things, along the way.
Yeah.
We won't get too deep into that. And then I went through an incident with my buddy Maloney, flipped over in a Humvee, and he got decapitated. Lots of things happened over there that shifted my perspective of life and how we as humans treat each other and how stupid, how ignorant, completely pointless war is. It's like arguing with somebody. You get what I mean? Perspectives.
Oh,
Like, is it like if you have a shit cupcake and then you sprinkle some more shitty on there, you got an extra shitty cupcake. You know what I mean? And I say this all the time to people. I'm like, and that's maybe not comparing it because obviously war is horrible.
yeah. No,
But
yeah.
yeah. So it shifted me and I got dark. I started getting like, I'm going to make the bad people suffer. That's what I'm
Yeah.
going to
Well,
do. Oh, my
I mean,
sweetness, like my love, I'm going to love all of the, and I'm going to protect the little guy. But now, and I got the nickname Punisher. This is not a joke. I'm going to show this to you. This is, actually, this is like a rucksack, or it's actually a camelback, but I use it when I go rucking. So I have my little Punisher. I know, right? But I got the Punisher
dude.
side because I had to get hard because my softness at that time, I didn't think it was doing anything. And so I would switch it on and switch it off. And the bad guys, they didn't want to meet me, right? They didn't want to
Wow.
mess with me. And so when I got out and I had Bryce, my firstborn, um, I got really intense, super paranoid. There was an incident in the HEB where, someone's like, "Oh, look at the pretty baby." And I snapped her arm in half, quite literally at HEB. But this is a
Uh,
defense. Like, we're trained. We're soldiers. We're
yeah.
trained. We are, and what I went through also made me want to train harder. Like, I was elite. Like, I was
Wow.
running 7 miles a day. I was doing 100 pull-ups a day, 100, like, I was doing things to make my body so agile, strong, elite, and just there's nothing you can't bounce off of me. And so I'm bulletproof, like that song, right? Like I'm bulletproof. Yeah. So, anyways, that kept going, but that's the whole. I'm constantly in adrenaline. I'm constantly like, I can do this, but my stress levels, my anxiety, all of these things I didn't know that I was experiencing because it's like a high. It's like an adrenaline rush, right? Like it's just go,
Yeah.
go, go. I got this. I never meditated. I never did breath work. I didn't even know what those modalities were. I knew nature was good for me, but I used it for rucking because rucking was like, I can put 50 pounds on my back and I can like deal with the things that are in my head because the things that I can't talk about, that civilians don't understand. It was hard. I'm also an artist, so I did practice artwork still then, which helped get the crazy stuff out.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah,
Well,
so that's
because
kind of
it's tough because, you being as a soldier and going overseas, you have to flip that switch of a warrior.
yeah,
And
yeah,
they have to instill that into you because you went to war.
yeah, yep.
And so when you come back to civilian life, how do you unflip that switch? Again, you
I'm gonna tell you
saw
right now, if I'm being completely transparent, I lied and I said I was okay and I wasn't. I knew that I was on edge. I knew I was harder. I knew that I was paranoid. And I was like, you know what? This is normal. It's okay. But when you're in the military, I was in when it was don't ask, don't tell. You weren't allowed to be gay. You weren't allowed to have tattoos exposed. I was in those times. And it was literally like, you suck it up. And my dad, like I said, suck it up, buttercup. If you're not bleeding to death, you're not dying. So I would do push-ups when I'd get upset. And I would do things to try to move through it,
wow.
not realizing that I had lost the connection to my heart. Does that make sense?
Well,
I was
but
still doing good, but I was,
you
yeah,
also went through some really hard things. I
yeah,
mean, you
yeah,
just sat there and said that you got ambushed and you guys were in a red zone. Like
yep,
you created this relationship with the kids
yeah,
to find out that, oh, well, it's not like America where,
yeah,
they cherish life like we do.
yeah,
And I don't know how a father could do that to his own son. Like that's,
yeah, yeah.
but again, it's a
That
different
broke, like I said,
world
that
when you
broke a
get
piece of me.
outside.
Yeah, yeah,
Um, so thank you for sharing all of that. That,
yes,
like I said, when you said it opened your eyes, I'm like, I kind of want to hear it because again, I've been out of the country, but I haven't been to Afghanistan. I haven't been to
right,
Iraq and things like that. So
yeah,
it's, I, been to, Mexico and England and Spain and things like that, and you like you said, you see the poverty in
Yeah.
spots, but never seen it to a level of a third world country and things like
Yeah.
that, so
Yeah. It's pretty disgusting, the things that I saw over there. I am so sorry for the cars.
you're
Um,
completely fine.
yeah.
So,
So transitioning
you
from like,
yeah,
station in Fort Hood, come back, have Bryson. I'm going along. I end up ETSing because I don't want to deploy again. Fort Hood's a rapidly deploying post. I went to first sergeant and he's like, I want you to stay. And I was like, I don't want to stay. I don't want to leave Bryson. It was like leaving Bryson was like, that would kill me. That's my son.
yeah,
That's who I'm carrying the flag for. Again, that's my son. That's my mission. And that's what I'm going to do. Now, me being me, because like I said, I had this mentality because of how much I saw. I was like, Cassie, you're soft. You need to keep the Punisher mindset. You're going to go into law enforcement when you get out. So I went over to Hawker Heights Police Department in Texas, and I was a police officer for a little while. And I got offered a position as a lieutenant at a maximum security prison. And now the reason I took that was because I wanted to be with Bryson more. It was 4 days on, 4 days off. I got salary. But once again, I'm in a position where I'm seeing and I'm interacting with real bad energy, real crappy
yeah,
dudes.
yeah,
And I literally one night, and I worked graveyard and I did that on purpose so I could spend more time with Bryson. My mission was Bryson. My mission was be the best mom I can be, but also I wanted to protect people from the bad guys. And I
yeah,
wanted to do that. And I was trying to do that. And that's where it was. Um, Anyways, and so one night I just said, I can't do this anymore. I'm not feeling all right. I mean, there were times where I'd go up in the tower and I'd have my shotgun and I'd see that guy across the um oh my gosh, what is it called? Where they like lift weights and stuff, like
like the
the
courtyard
yard or
or
whatever.
the yard, yeah,
And
yeah,
yeah, and I'd see them and I'd hold up my shotgun. And I'm like, if I could just get rid of you, no more kids would suffer. And I would think stuff like that. And that's real.
right,
And anyone that says they don't think weird shit, they're full of shit. Because at the end of the day, nobody wants to watch somebody hurting somebody else. But
yeah,
that was not my heart. That was my head. And I knew that. And I said, this isn't okay. I need to get out of this. I need to transition into something that I can help people, that I can heal people, and I can heal myself. Because that's when I started to realize I need to process some of the stuff that I'm going through because this is not the way to live. You can't go around being paranoid, scared of, the bad guy and then really messing up the bad guy because you're afraid of it. Does that make sense?
yeah, yeah,
Um, and that's just not okay. So I went up to the warden. I said, I quit. I appreciate you. He gave me an entrance ticket to, I guess back in the day in Texas, they used to have rodeos where they'd have the inmates do rodeos and stuff like that. And he gave that to me. It's like a historical thing. It's kind of cool. And I just left. I sold all my stuff. Took me 2 days. Bryson and I traveled in my car from Texas all the way back to Washington State. I started going to
gotcha,
college. I became a massage therapist. I became a Reiki practitioner, which is an energy healer. And through this journey, I think it was 2012, I blacked out on the freeway. That's when I got diagnosed with severe PTSD, anxiety. The military is like, hey, you're not okay. I was like, oh. And
oh,
it's
you're
been about
now
13
figuring
years.
that out.
Yeah, it's been about 13 years. And so I wanted to heal myself. I realized you don't have to take medicine. There's people along my journey um, that have opened my eyes to I don't have to do this. I don't have to take this medicine. I can heal myself. The natural resource sources that we have, which I would love to talk about. And I healed the parts of me. I found the journey from my head to my heart. I connected the two back together, which I'm so grateful for because I was so angry for such a long time because of when you see, like I said, when you see something that horrible, it shifts you, you know?
Yeah.
And you gotta, I don't know if anyone's ever seen The Punisher, but he's tortured on the inside, okay? He needs to do a little bit of breath work. He needs to come hang out with me a little bit. It's a good resource to have when the world starts to end, but it's not something you need to walk around being like every day.
Yeah.
It doesn't feel good, and stress kills you. It does, right?
Well, I mean,
Um,
definitely, again, circling back at the things that you saw and you experienced and that trigger happening,
yeah,
like, I can
yeah,
imagine
yeah. So I
how
blacked out on
different
the
you looked
freeway.
at life.
Oh, for sure. And I blacked out on the freeway, went and got help, spoke to some people, and then I walked in. I said, hey, I just found out I don't have to take any of these 12 pills you gave me because it numbed me out. I think I was only on
Yeah.
medication for a couple of weeks. Dumped it on the desk, said, I'm going to heal myself. And that's when I started really diving deep into what am I made out of? We like, you know, education and resources is like at the tips of our fingers now. It's beautiful, but there's
Yeah.
so much of it and it's so concentrated. You're kind of like, where do I go? So I just went deep within myself. What am I made out of? What are my cells? All the way down to the smallest molecules. What am I? And it's energy. And my energy
Nice.
had shifted to darkness and I wanted to shift it. And I said, it's okay to kind of go back and forth, but what is my frequency vibing at? Vibration is what you feel in moments. So, like, you can be happy, you can be super sad, but your frequency is what you wake up, what you feel like. Like, I feel like crap every day. I don't want to go to work. I don't want to be a mom. I don't want to do whatever it is that you know what I'm saying? If you're at a low frequency, you don't want to do anything. You're depressed, you're sad, you're angry. Those are super low vibes, you know what I mean? And you
Yeah, yeah,
gotta
yeah,
realize
yeah.
you gotta be honest with yourself and you gotta ask for help. You gotta reach out, but the things you can do for yourself,
It's
get out in
definitely
nature.
not easy because there's some
No,
mornings
it's
I'll
not.
wake up, especially from the
Yep,
station, and it's
yep,
kinda weird. It'll be like we won't even catch a call, and I'll wake up and I'll feel like crap.
yeah,
And it's just like, what, and like you said,
yeah,
is I'm aware of it. I'm more aware of it now than I used to
mhm,
be.
yeah,
But it's like, you like you said, is you try to shut it off and you're like, no, like this is Punisher mode. Like,
yeah,
I don't feel like this. I
yeah,
can't
yeah,
talk to anybody about it. But then
yep,
like you talk to people and you're like, hey, like I just feel like crap today. Like I don't know what. I need a minute, like just to
yeah, yeah.
regroup and
And what can you do? This is what I wanna give. This is why
all
you
right.
you are such a beautiful soul, and I appreciate you, and you uplift so many people. You empower them. Man, like, if you could be in everyone's alarm clock, like, get up. You know what you need to be doing, right? And that's how you if you can't
Yeah,
trust yourself, how's anybody else gonna trust you? And that's a huge part
there
of
you
it,
go.
building that self-confidence. Stop living in the disease, the dis-ease, because a diagnosis is not all that you are, and there's so many natural resources. I'm just gonna name off a couple. One, if you get out in nature, I don't care if you live in the city, find a tree, put your hands on it. There's something that trees and plants, specifically spruce, cedar, and pine, give off to help the body, to help the nervous system, but also NK cells, natural killer cells, which is a type of white blood cell. It literally activates that. And so, if you're suffering from cancer, if you've been diagnosed with cancer, if you've been diagnosed with any kind of viral disease, you can go out in nature and walk around, and you are literally protecting your body. You're healing your body. That's one thing you can do. It's a natural resource that we have on this beautiful planet. Your breath. Like, when you get upset, I don't know how you feel, but I'm like breathing in my chest. I feel my heartbeat in my throat. And I'm like, let's do this. I mean, you got to take that pause before you shoot, or else you're all over the place. But you know what I mean? Um,
I
breath is
I
huge
love it
too.
because you see, like, how you look and some of the things that you say, you're like, "You gotta take a breath before you shoot," and it's like, I wouldn't expect to hear this out of her.
Yeah. Yeah. So, but
So,
that's,
is this kind of the things that I've been hearing with, like, Aaron Rodgers going, and doing, like, these detox things, like,
yes,
is that what some of this is like? Because I think my
yeah,
buddy John, we did Beat Bad Fitness, he
yeah,
was talking to me about some of this
yes.
stuff when I was in
So,
Nashville,
yeah, you can utilize this
and he's
yourself because
also a veteran and,
yeah, yeah. Just get outside. It does not matter. And a lot of people are like, why live in the city? It doesn't matter. Um, you're a part of this planet. Every part of you,
yeah,
everything, we are all interconnected. And honestly, I keep telling people this, and I don't know why this has been so prominent in my energy, in my head, in my heart lately, but the planet doesn't need us to survive. The planet's fine without us. This is real, right? We need the
mm,
planet. We need the air. We need the
wow,
water. We need the trees. We will not survive without this beautiful planet. But the cool thing, and why we should really just be so grateful. I mean, if you got nothing else to be grateful for, wake up and be like, oh my gosh, this planet's keeping me alive. And you get outside and you
yeah,
connect with nature, you will heal yourself. You will transform your mind, your cells transform, your nervous system regulates. And then if you breathe in nature, breath work, 4-7-8. That is my favorite box. Well, box breathing is good too for in the moment. Like, if I'm in a stressful situation, like where if I hear babies crying, reminds me of war instantly. Like, I'm at the grocery store, I do a little bit of box breathing because I'm like, and I don't know how you feel, but like an emergency situation, someone's screaming, I run to it. I don't run away from it. and I still have that. You get what I mean? Like, I wanna make sure that
Gotcha.
they're okay.
No,
I wanna make sure that they're safe.
because I know there's gonna be veterans watching this, so I definitely, there may be some of them that are listening that haven't tried this, or they're like, "Hey, yeah, I
Yeah.
get that way
Yeah.
too." So
Yeah, and
I
it's okay to, like, put your groceries down and say, "You know what? Energetically, at 1,500 at Walmart right now, I can't handle this. There's too much chaos and kind of fuckery happening around here. I need to get out and just go take some breath." And you really gotta just you gotta stop being ashamed. You gotta stop feeling guilty. Survivor's guilt is a real thing. And you just gotta, like, just be your authentic, and I say raw authentic. Just be your authentic self, and that's
yeah.
what's beautiful about you. You're so real. You're so connected, and even, like, it doesn't have to be perfect. Nobody has to be perfect. It's just what you
Yeah.
do every day. You gotta work at it every day, and you gotta
And
practice every day.
and so this kind of leads us into the worst thing
Yeah.
that you could get a phone call from, or somebody told you. How I'm
Yeah,
gonna
so I was
just
at
start
home.
leading everybody.
Yep. Okay,
Go ahead.
so I was at home with my girls. I homeschool all 3 of my kiddos because I want to give them more than the government can, because I can give them more than the government can. So, and I get a knock on the door, and it was one of Bryson's coaches and said, "Bryson's been hit." Instantly, no tears, grabbed my little one, put shoes on her, grabbed my other little one, literally carried both of them, and one's like 10, she's, like, super heavy, and I carried them, outside. The coach said, "I'm gonna drive you," because she knew, like, being downrange, you go, like, 90 miles an hour. I would've got there in, like, 5 seconds. I would've been safe, but you get what I'm saying? Is that safe? No, it's not. So she put me in the back of her vehicle, and we got to the hospital. I called, I got some amazing friends. I called my best battle buddy, Coog. Her name's Coog. Yay. Anyways, and so I called her and I said, "Hey, I need you to come watch the girls, and, I'm at the hospital." I did not cry. I stayed so grounded. Energetically, I just wanted to go back and see my boy. I didn't know how severe it was. I didn't know what was going on. I think the waiting part was the hardest part, because then your mind starts to, like, you know what I'm saying?
Oh
So
yeah.
finally I was able to go back. Um, and I saw him, and I didn't actually see anything crazy. It was internal. Um, his head had exploded. He's short. The truck hit him, and with his brain was literally swelling to the point where he was going to die. He was bleeding internally. He had a punctured lung, and he hadn't opened his eyes. He hadn't. Nothing. Nothing had happened. Um, at the hospital,
Cass,
and
hold
they
on real
didn't.
quick. It
I
it
think I got a
it
phone call.
bleeped out there. Yeah.
Yeah, hold on one second.
You're good. Keep going. I don't
Okay.
We didn't miss too
Okay.
much.
Okay. So yeah, so I went back there with him, and I said, "Can I touch him?" They had him severely medicated, and he had a trach and all of these other things so he could breathe, because he wasn't breathing on his own. And the second I touched Bryson, this this is kind of scary, and I haven't told a lot of people this, but I feel okay doing that right now. His eyes were closed, and he just like, you know what I mean? And when he was a baby, he would do this when he wasn't okay. He started, like, aggressively tapping my hands. And they were taking him within seconds. They were contacting neurosurgery, because they were gonna have to cut half of his skull off, half of his head off, so he could possibly survive. Possibly survive. I mean, 1%. They're like, there's no way." Everyone was kind of just talking to me like, this is, and so the surgeon comes up to me. I give Bryson a kiss on the forehead, and I tell him, "I love you. You are limitless. You are gonna be okay. I'm with you." And that's what I said. And they took him away. I still hadn't cried, still being strong. And the surgeon says, "I'm going in right now. I have no time. I'm going to try to save his life, but I can't promise you it's going to work." And so I go back and I sit in the waiting room. And like I said, I've got amazing battle buddies. I've got people, I've got such amazing friends. And they were there with me. And that's when I let it out. I got it all out. And I was able to, after the surgeon came back, took about 2 hours, which felt like an eternity. And he's like, "You can go back with Bryson." Now there's a rule, at the hospital, that you're not allowed to stay. You're not allowed to stay at the hospital, overnight. but he was a minor, so they allowed me, and I pretty much lived at the hospital. And he was in a coma, and his body had to, like, heal itself, essentially. You know what I mean? And this is something that it's hard to talk about because I'm getting the visuals of my son right now, but it's the body is so powerful. Really, all that the surgeon did was cut his skull off. Does that make sense what I'm saying? That's what he
Yeah.
did. He cut his skull off, and because he did that, it allowed Bryson's brain to swell, to bleed. The lung itself also had to heal. And this boy, he's a fighter. He was trying to breathe through the machine, like I was watching it. But what I did for Bryson, and a lot of people don't know about this, and this is the energy part. This is the bringing the resilience and the power and the strength and the limitless that we all are. That you know what I mean? Because we limit ourselves. I went in there every day and I didn't leave for 7 days straight. I did 100 push-ups next to that boy's bed, 100 Bulgarian split squats, no weight. And every day I actually drew a heart and I wrote like affirmations of Bryson, you are beyond powerful. You are love. You are energy. And energy work, you don't touch the body. It's called Reiki. You can look into it if you choose to. And very similar, like when your child falls and they get a boo-boo and you put your hands on it, you're like, you're okay, right? You're touching them, but you don't have to. I would go over Bryson's brain. I would go over his body and I would just bring the most divine, comforting, healing energy. And I had people outside of the hospital energetically, like we are now connected. Chris, like anything I think about you, praying for you, honoring you and your family, you're going to feel it. You're going to benefit from it. And that's what you do for others. And I was doing that for my son every single day. And I had this nurse come up to me and she said, we have people in here. 8 people died while Bryson was in the ICU. 8 people. And I saw it all, the families.
Oh my gosh.
And there were people there that had nobody. And Bryson, me being there for him, and I'm not taking the credit because that boy's beautiful body and he did so much hard work. You know what I mean? He was a fighter.
So
He still is.
so explain to everybody now that you know, I mean, if you can, what
Mhm.
happened. Because so like you said, is you get a knock on the door. It was track coach,
Yeah. Yeah. It was a
right?
track coach,
It was
cross
the
country
track
coach.
coach.
Yeah.
You don't really know what happened other than your son is in surgery or in the hospital. He has to
Yep.
go to surgery. They've got
Mhm.
to cut his skull open so that they
Yep.
can release the pressure in his
Yeah.
brain so
And they
that
cut
it doesn't
half of it off.
swell.
Like it's literally like half of his skull.
Yeah, you sent
From
me
the
the
ear all the
picture
way
and
back.
it's
Yeah. Yeah.
okay. So what now you're at the hospital. What was the story that you got that what happened?
Essentially, Bryson, he was running cross country practice, doing everything he should have been doing, and an idiot blew an intersection. And, you know, you never think things like that are going to happen to you, that someone that you love is going to be, you know, it's, I can't even put it into words, but my body, my entire being, everything that was me. And I remember that when I chose not to re-enlist, Bryson, it's like I've always like you sacrifice yourself. You're a mother, you
Yeah.
are a creator, but like your kid, like I would throw myself in front of a bus to save all 3 of my kids. And I said, you know what? Bryson's gonna need every ounce of energy, love, and strength that I got. And I'm gonna carry all the flags. I'm gonna carry Bryson, all the flags, all the rucksacks, and I'm gonna run up that mountain while there's lava coming after me. I don't give a shit because this ain't gonna happen. And I knew, and I don't know if it's because I'm his mother. I don't know if it's because I'm connected energetically, but Bryson, I knew that he was gonna make it out. I didn't know if he was still gonna be Bryson. I didn't know how he would function. And that was the next hurdle. Is my son
Wow.
still my son? When he woke up, I did not get to see his beautiful brown eyes for like a month straight. And when he finally was coming out of the coma and they were like, we got past the internal bleeding, the excessive, then we got a blood clot that was gonna, right? And then when the lungs started working and everything started healing, and I got to see his beautiful eyes. Oh my gosh, like, I felt like I just got the best gift on the planet and everything was gonna be okay, and I didn't care because my baby, you know what I mean? It was insane, and he had tears, but it was hard because he was so drugged up. There's so much medication he was still on, which I'm grateful for because that boy would have been so much pain, right? Um,
Right.
but, from that point on, I was like, "We got this, buddy. One day at a time. It's a marathon, but I'm gonna run it with you every single day. Every every bathroom incident, every vomit, every cry, every you know what I mean? And I'm so
Dude,
grateful that I was
Cass, you're
able to
hitting
be
deep,
there.
man. Wow.
Yeah, I'm just so grateful I was able to be there and that I had the support outside to be there because that's what I'm saying. That is such a game changer when you can physically be there with somebody and hold their hand. And he's my son. There was no options. I'm not going to leave him. But it's knowing that you're not alone when you're in suffering is so huge because when you're alone and you isolate, and this has to do with like veterans, this has to do with law enforcement or firefighters. When you guys isolate because you see the trauma, I'll deal with it on my own or I'll be okay. That's not good. You
Yeah.
need someone that's there to just listen. And Bryson we got his skull replaced recently. I'm teaching him how to walk. I'm teaching him how to deal with the PTSD. He's got the best mom for the job because I've been through it and I've been through the Punisher, right? So his alter ego. So this is kind of cool. So Bryson loves Spider-Man. He loves Spidey. So Bryson normally he's like Peter Parker, right? He's like super chill, kind of nerdy, good kid. His alter ego is Black Suit Spidey, and he's got that in him now. And he's like, I feel that, mom. I feel that energy. Like I'm angry. And I was like, that's what that is. But now you got to lasso that, okay? You got to keep your heart open. You got to connect to your head.
Yeah.
And Black Suit Spidey and regular Spidey, they can, you know what I mean? But
That
yeah,
Cass, because I remember we would chat a little bit,
yep,
through Instagram,
yep,
and all of a sudden you were like, I'm something came up in life.
yep,
I am no longer gonna be on Instagram.
yep,
And I can't remember how the message went, but it was just like, and then bam, you were off.
yeah.
And
Because it shifts your perspective on what's important. And this is a big thing about emotions, right? I'm sitting there and so many people lean on me as they do you, not just my family, but everyone outside. They want to better themselves and they're looking for someone that knows how to give them the tools to do it. I utilize natural resources because I don't need anything. I'm a minimalist anyways, and I'll live in a tree all my life. I'm okay with that. But what I mean is like, so many people were leaning on me and that pressure of like,
yeah,
hey, are you going to host more events? Are you going to like help us get through this? A lot of women do like wanting to get back into shape, wanted to nourish their bodies through natural healing and rucking and things like that. I just wanted to cut it off and kind of give myself, and you have to do that. You got to
yeah,
realize like, and I don't know if you're like this because you do so much, but you've got so many balls in the air. And I said, you know what? My North Star, you got to find that North Star. And what is that?
yeah.
My son, getting him home. Then you switch, okay, he's home
Right.
now. Now my North Star, and you got to focus on that. And anything outside of it, you got to say no. And if they still love you, if they still respect you, they'll be there. And if they don't, then they don't. These are seasons in life,
Wow.
and not everything is meant to stay the same, and nothing will. That's just what life is.
And that was what was that it's been a while.
It's been
Has
almost a
it
year,
been a
yeah,
year?
October 6th is, when the accident was, so, yeah,
Because
yeah,
again, and kind of rewinding on it was I remember you saying that and kind of like what you said, like what happens in the universe, all of a sudden I start a podcast and you message me.
yeah,
And, I
yeah,
was like immediately was like, I want I people need to hear this story. This
but
is
your passion and remembering you and your mission, I have that in my heart too. I don't wanna leave anybody behind, and as Bryson started healing the pain to purpose, and like, he's the vice president of Mother RUCKer, right? I don't care if he can walk or talk or not, I'll put him in my rucksack, he's still the vice president, we're gonna keep on rucking, and I want to just I wanna keep helping others, and I want to inspire them, but this journey, I'm stronger
yeah.
now. Yeah.
And let's finish up with Bryson real quick and then we'll kind of
Okay,
get into
okay.
um Mother RUCKer and things like that. How So that was about a year ago.
Yep.
Where are you guys at now with him? And I thought you said something about he's still trying to learn how to walk. I mean,
Yep.
dude, I run a lot, and there's so many times that vehicles, and most of the time I have to be aware where I'm like, I just and still like they don't see me, you know.
Yeah. Yep.
I can
Yeah.
imagine like just your story, just like I'm just sitting here, and I mean
Well,
it
it's like the
just hit
biggest thing.
so
It's
deep.
like a teenager. You have to think like age 16, 17, you're coming into yourself. You're trying to figure out who you
Yeah.
are, what your identity is. And Bryson loves running, makes him feel free. He loves dancing. All these things got ripped away from him. So he's actively walking, but because the right side of his brain got hit, the left side of the body, his foot will drag. There's things that happen. I'm with him 24/7. So these things he can't even do, like the
Wow.
independent, and not to get too deep into that kind of thing, but it's overall, he is every day he wakes up and he puts his best foot forward, but it's hard because these things it's consistent and he's never going to be the same because half of his, some of the pieces of his brain absorb back into the body. So his brain is smaller on one side. And so if he gets sick, he gets stressed, all these things, his left side will shut down. It won't function right. And so his life is forever changed, but now he's got to find a new way to live. But the tools that he has, the resources that he has, the natural elements, and the mom with the mission, and now the boy with the perseverance and the dedication, the devotion to himself and to healing, Bryson's going to do amazing things. And I'm going to be right there with him the
Yeah.
whole time. Yeah. So it's
Wow.
intense though.
That
But he does have his skull back on, and we're we're taking it one day at a time, but I'm just yeah, it's he's a miracle boy. Everyone tells him, he's like, "Whatever." Like, he doesn't even get it. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's you can't really
well, Kat,
he's like, "I'm alive." Yeah.
I'm I'm grateful for you to be able to share that story with us.
Thank you. I am grateful that
That's
you have me here to be able to do it because it means and there's someone out there. There's somebody out there right now, um, that's going through this or something worse. And I'm hoping the resources and the how to deal with
mm,
it, what to do when someone is hurting and what they can energetically bring to the
yeah.
table and physically. I hope this helps somebody. Yeah.
And and it just goes to push also like, you know, like you hear these stories, and then you start thinking about things that are going on in your life, and you're like, what do I have to bitch about? Like, what do I have to bitch about?
I,
Like,
yeah.
oh, that I'm so stressed and I've got all this stuff going on. Like, really? Like, I was running with my boy this morning, and
Yeah.
we're running our last part, and I'm trying to push him, and
Yeah.
I'm like, think about the people that can't do this. Think about the people that can't do this, and we
Yep.
get to do this. We get to
Yep.
do it, and
Yeah.
um, so I'm amazed. Like you're telling that story, and I mean, dude, it's just like hitting deep
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
it's just once you
Yeah.
once you have kids, you realize that you're like, wow, like
I feel like they're my purpose. They're my reason from the whole monkey see, monkey do, right? Our kids are watching us and everything that I gift them, everything that I show them, everything that I am is an example and
yeah,
that
wow,
they are going to follow. And I want to leave this planet and everything on it better than I found it. And when I pass away, my body does, because energetically, you guys are still going to feel me. Um, but when I'm gone physically, I don't want to leave. I don't want to leave damaged humans on this planet. Does that make sense? What I mean by that?
wow,
I want them to be at peace. I want them to be empowered. I want them to be kind. I want them to have
yeah,
their head and their heart together, And one of my favorite quotes is literally the hardest, the longest journey that we'll ever take is from our head to our heart. Because that takes, grace and that takes empathy and being humble, and that's a tough journey. But yeah, so
it's
yeah.
definitely tough. It's
Yeah.
definitely tough. Yes. Okay, so I guess we can kind of. I don't know if you want to talk about this, but you did mention that the ambulance ride alone was 3,500.
Oh yeah, no, it's insane. I would say everything within the medical system, insurance, I adore what they have covered and the things that they have done. But when someone is going through trauma and injury and they're trying to survive, the last thing you need is like, "Hey, here's a bill. Hey, here's like," you get what I'm saying? I could give 2
Yeah.
shits. And if I'm being transparent with you, the system, it is a system for a reason. And as I'm going through this process, as I'm going through this journey, this season with Bryson, and I already knew it, I just hadn't experienced it like other people have,
Yeah.
and it's they don't care about souls. They care about
No.
money, and that
Yeah.
is sad, but that's how the system works. And, you know,
It
it breaks my heart because you're so stressed and you're trying to stay balanced for your kids, and then you got things coming at you that aren't gonna help. That's it's just making it more stressful. I've learned to
Yeah.
really just kinda block it out at this point and kinda go through, right? We've got a lot of litigations and things happening, as we go along. Can't really talk about those things because 'cause we're still in that, but,
Gotcha. Gotcha.
um, you know, it sucks, and it makes it
But
stressful. It makes it hard.
you guys do have a GoFundMe set up.
I did set one up for Bryce, yep, I did that when he got home because that made sense, and as I'm looking and, I got the 3 little ones and me, and I'm sitting here like, "Okay, this is all coming at me real fast," and his
I
healing journey is long, and so we don't know what's gonna
I
happen,
don't
so I'm trying
think
to make
you have
sure.
any apology at all to say that you created a GoFundMe
Yeah,
because your son was out running for the school
yeah,
and gets hit by somebody. And again,
yeah,
I kind of know a little bit more of the story, and I don't know, but they weren't supposed to be driving,
yeah,
and it
yeah,
it's you have no like you have don't worry about apologizing for any of that because it's like
yeah,
I can imagine what you feel like. Like my wife got diagnosed as a type 1 diabetic at 38 and spent 3 nights in the ICU. I
yeah,
definitely get insurance now and stuff when you go from North Carolina back to Kansas City and you're like,
yeah,
what is the
once
difference?
a day,
Why are we paying more now here? So every
yeah.
year we max out
But the
our
sad
out of
part,
pocket.
instead of, like, focusing on your family, you're now like, "Why am I putting my energy?" So you know what I decided to do? And this was actually, like, not that long ago. This is, like, probably a month ago. I said, "You know what? There's nothing I can do. This is a system. I'm gonna place this over
Yeah.
here, and I'm gonna focus on Bryce. Let's go for a walk, Bryce. Hey, girls, let's do some tie-dye t-shirts. Let's do that." And
Yeah.
that's gonna sit there because I know that the divine God, spirit, the universe is gonna take care of me and these kids. You were
Yeah.
divinely brought to me. This podcast, this is an opportunity to help others, to help Bryson heal, to help you. Everybody, you know what I'm saying? We're
Yeah.
divinely connected, Chris. That's just what it is. The universe isn't gonna let us fall, and we're not gonna let anyone else fall because we give a ruck because our hearts are bigger than our brains.
We give a run.
Yeah. So
Dude, and I totally agree with that. For some reason, we were supposed to meet and you were supposed to send that message and we were supposed to do this podcast. I always say that like everything happens for a reason and it's
yeah,
really weird how some things happen and you're supposed to meet that person or do something like it's always weird. So I definitely agree with that. Um
yeah.
but I do like I said I definitely I'm gonna be putting in, our email and everything, your GoFundMe,
Thank
guys,
you. I
even if,
appreciate that.
like you said, if you sacrifice your $5 for that coffee that day to send $5, like,
Thank
man,
you.
if, 1,000 people sending $5 it means a lot for somebody that's gone through, served
Yeah.
our country. Son
Thank
was
you.
out, not doing anything stupid. He was doing, and I
Yeah.
can imagine how you feel.
I was super angry at one point. I was super angry, and that's the Punisher started coming out, but that wasn't gonna help Bryson. And
Yeah.
Bryson knows
Yeah.
when I shift because he's been with me, I mean, I'm that mom too. I take my kids everywhere. Like, "You're in my rucksack, we're going. I don't wanna leave you behind." And it was just me and Bryce for a long time. He's my little battle buddy, you know?
Yeah.
So,
And
yeah,
and 2, kind of share this thing that you go around to schools. What share with everybody what you did. I don't really know the whole story behind Life as a Dance.
Okay, so I brought a copy so I could kind of show. So Bryson and I, before the accident, I love helping veterans. I love helping everybody, but kids near and dear to my heart. And I was
Yeah.
like, how can, because I mean, they come with their families to ruck, but they're like, we're just walking out in nature. What is this, right? Kids love color and creativity because they're in that mind still. They're still like, it's like whimsical. They're just like, everything is a possibility. So Bryson and I together wrote Life is a Dance, right? And it's it's a book really just to empower kids and remind them that life, whether it goes up or it goes down, it's a beautiful journey, and to dance through it, to flow through it like the river, right? The river doesn't stop unless you build a big dam, and that's where you got blockages. You got to break that down. But the river carves out mountains and it flows through. And I want kids, no matter, and I don't know if I can say this, no matter how shitty your parents are, no matter how much you hate school, no matter how stressed you feel, no matter anything outside of you that is affecting you, infecting you, because we're kids and we learn and we absorb. And that's why the whole you and I setting a good example for our kids, that means so much. But there's other, they're teachers, they're coaches, right? What kind of morals and what kind of ethics and how are they behaving? I want kids to find this gift inside themselves and reminding them that you are powerful, you are
Yeah.
resilient, and anything outside of you, you're like, that doesn't align with me. That doesn't feel good. You don't have to, you don't have to, but you're kind of stuck with what you got for a little while. But it's a learning process. And
Yeah.
when you get on your own, I want them to rise up. And so I wanted to empower little ones to keep creating, keep dancing, keep being your authentic self. You know what I mean? If you're soft, you're
And
soft. If you're hard, you're hard.
if you're Punisher, you're Punisher,
That's right.
Um, have you guys been visiting schools?
Yeah. So, Bryson, before he got his skull replaced, I was like, "Hey, buddy," because when his book came in, he started crying. He was like, "Oh my gosh, like this is so amazing!" And I said, "I'm going to present this to the school district if you're open to that, bud." And he was like, "Let's do it." He's like, "We can bring smiles to everyone's faces." Meanwhile, he has half of his head missing still. He's
Yeah.
learning how to walk, and he's like, "Let's do this, mom." And he's literally stood up. He could barely like move. And he was literally like dancing with like the little kids. And we read the story out loud to these little kiddos at multiple spots in the Puyallup School District. And it was so fun and it made me so happy. The teachers adored it, right? They're like, this is amazing. And there's a couple local bookshops too that had us host there, and we got to read and just really give back and help people. But I was more, I mean, I know Bryson's heart. So impressed with his willingness and his loving sweet heart to want to continue to help others while he's suffering,
Wow.
actively still in
Yeah.
that suffering phase. It wasn't like, you better do this, boy. He was like, let's do this, mom. Right?
Yeah.
And he's just
You
got a
know,
sweet soul. Yeah.
and you
So,
said he was missing his skull and
yep.
he's dealing with people
And he's so
staring,
humble.
people looking,
Yep.
and
Yep.
he's
Yep.
still moving
There's actually a
forward.
specific little kid. It was like a pajama party thing that they had at the P4 Academy, which is over here, which is like the homeschool group of kids. And he was like, "Why do you have that weird helmet on your head?" And Bryson's like, "Well, I have half my skull missing, and if I fall, this protects it." And they were like, "Whoa, you can still walk without half a head?" Bryson's like, "I can do this too." It was pretty, and I was like, "Bryson, you're so humble and you're so sweet, and he's just a beautiful soul." I not just because he's my son. He's Bryce's son. He's amazing.
Well, that's amazing. When you told me that story of it also, I was pumped, and
Thanks.
I was so excited to hear about it and hear that
And
you
that's to
guys were
tell
going
people
around.
too, even if you go through something bad, you don't have to stop and give up. You don't have to
Yeah.
quit. You don't have
But
to you can be sad for a while. You need to heal, but that is
yeah,
part of
and
the
it's
healing
just
journey.
too is nobody really knew your backstory also,
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
like you've gone through a lot of experiences, and
Yeah.
it's amazing how resilient, and you've stood strong on it. Like I said, I guess you've
Thank
got to
you.
owe a little bit more to your dad for
Yeah.
bringing the
He's a tough
Punisher up.
cookie. Yeah. I mean,
Um,
but if we're gonna get into weird stuff like zodiacs, I'm a Cancer. I'm a softie, but I had to I had to go into my shell. That's the hard shell of the crab, right? I had to because, like I said, the heart and the mind, they
You
need to be
you
together.
were basically forced to once
Yeah,
you
yeah, yeah.
yeah,
But you get lost in that, and you don't wanna get
wow.
lost there. It's a horrible place to get
Okay,
lost in the dark.
so people can purchase your book also
Yep, on
on
Amazon. Yep,
Amazon. Okay, cool. Because I wanna put that out because this is such an amazing story that I'm like I said, something was telling me that they were like, dude, you need to get this story out
thank you.
because it's truly it's amazing and I don't know how you kept it together telling that story because I don't
Everyone
know if
says
I
that
would
to
be.
me. This nurse, she's like, "How I've never in my 20 years at the hospital seen anyone doing push-ups next to their any person's bed." And I even got some nurses, working out a little bit. It was kind of as Bryson woke up and I remember the first time he took steps, right? And everyone was like,
Yeah.
"Oh," 'cause his left side wasn't even moving, like his feet, his hands, all those things. And Bryson inspired just by being him and pushing and trying so hard. He inspired a lot of people up there in the ICU to also better themselves and to look at their life differently. And it's a
Wow.
beautiful thing. Yeah.
I mean, it should, like I said, it should make all of us look at it because it's so, it's so precious that, and like you said, is we all complain about the silly little things, and you're like,
And
wow,
love.
like
Give your wife the biggest kiss and grab her ass and give your kid a hug and like tell him you love him. You know what I mean? Like, don't take that
it's
for granted. I remember the morning
it's so
Bryson left.
hard because I'm like the Punisher. I don't hug a lot. I don't say I love you a lot. Like I don't like
Smack her in the ass. That's your love tap. Just do that. I'm not allowed to say that. Sorry.
yeah, no. Two. So I want everybody to take a look at the GoFundMe. Like I said, if you guys
Yeah.
go to Starbucks and grab a coffee, just don't grab a coffee for that day and
Yeah.
donate $5.
Thank you.
And two, you do combat vet. Your boy went through all of this. I know at the beginning of that you started Mother RUCKer. You can
Yeah.
tell it. Go ahead and tell us a little bit about
Okay.
Mother RUCKer
So
also.
Mother RUCKer, I am not a 501(c)(3). I'm non-governmental. There's a reason for that. Well, we don't need to get into that. But that's how I
Got
choose
you.
to be because then I can do what I want to do and nobody can tell me anything. I utilize natural resources like nature and I pair up with different cities. We had an amazing ruck last year with Mission Outdoors in Eatonville and just reminding people, one, you are resilient. Two, anybody can walk hopefully, and if you can't, you can wheel it. A lot of the stuff that we do, you can bring wheelchairs, you can bring canes, you can do those sorts of things. But the
Yeah.
ones that are a little bit tougher, and rucking, I can't like Mother RUCKer. I started pain to purpose. What do I do every day to help heal myself? And I wanted to give that gift, and I mean give it because it's out of my own pocket. My T-shirts, I pay for that. Everything that I make, my logos, I do all of it by myself, very much like you. And anything, and I would save up throughout the year so I could give back to others, right? And then I would get other
Wow.
people like Green Beret Fitness or Go Ruck and Ruckster. They would donate, and I'd give it away to people at the end of the ruck to empower them. You are strong. You are limitless. You are connected to everything, and then educate them on these natural resources that we have, right? Like, we don't breathe our own lungs. We don't beat our own heart. You know what I mean? But when you're in that fight
Yeah.
or
Yeah.
flight mode and you're in the Punisher mindset, I'm telling you, doing a 4-7-8 breath work session, going for a ruck, immersing yourself out in nature, hanging out with people like you and like me are going to really be good for you and good for your entire well-being. You know what I mean? And that's what Mother RUCKer is. And that's why I started it
Amazing.
because I was suffering alone at one point and I didn't have, and it's like, you know what? I'm going to, I'm going to do it myself. And then it started just coming to me and people started coming to me and situations and all of these things just started to kind of create itself. And that has to do with your frequency. You know, what you are, you attract more of. And so there you go. That's another reason
Well,
to
yeah.
be your best self.
I definitely love it, and I think once you guys get back on social, I think it's definitely something that
Yeah.
sharing your guys' story because it's amazing and putting this all together because it's such a great story, such a great purpose, such a great story. And I sit there and I say story with all due respect of it. Like I said, it's
Yeah.
not a great story. Nobody wants to go through this story,
Yeah.
but it's amazing to hear your guys's, how you've come together through this.
Yeah. It's resilience, and I think it's just the knowing. There's a knowing, and I think a lot of people that don't I don't know, like, to have wisdom, you gotta go through shitty stuff. You gotta go through hard stuff. You can't read a book and say but if you physically have done it, you've read about it, and you've literally absorbed it, um, there's something within me,
Yeah.
this knowing that everything's gonna
Right.
be okay, you know, and it's hard to explain. It's an
Yeah.
energy. Yeah. Yeah.
It's definitely hard to explain, but I like I said, I know it's not a story because it's not a story anybody wants to, but I
Yeah.
respect it and I love what you guys are doing.
Thank
Uh,
you.
so let's end this on like a little brighter side of it, and I'm gonna fire
Okay.
some questions that I ask everybody just
Okay.
to kind of make end it off on a good one. So,
Okay.
like I said, I ask just the same little questions, just kind of break it up a little bit. Everybody kind of get to know you and everything. So, what's your favorite movie?
Ooh, my favorite movie. Can I get don't judge me. It's Twilight. What?
Twilight. I have a very funny
I can't
story over
lie. I can't
Twilight.
lie. I also like Fight Club, but I like Twilight.
you know, um, Back when we very first got our smartphones, I was out doing lawn work and I
Yep.
was sitting there listening to Pandora at the time. And, Pandora's got all the ads on it. And it was
Yeah.
talking about this werewolf vampire movie. And I was like, man, I really want to go see this werewolf vampire movie. And so
Yeah.
my wife gets home from work and I go, hey, you want to go to the movies? She's like, yeah, what do you want to see? I was like, I don't know. There's this like werewolf vampire movie out. And I was like, I think it's like, I don't know. It was like something like, is it Twilight or something? And she's like,
Yeah.
you want to go see Twilight? I was like, yeah, I like werewolves and vampires. She was like,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
And like halfway in, I'm looking at her. I'm like, well played. Well played.
And it was filmed in Forks, Washington, so why wouldn't I like it? I'm from Washington. Makes sense.
Yeah,
Yeah.
dude. Well, it's Washington's amazing. It's beautiful up there.
Yeah. Super green.
Um, I think I'm gonna know the answer to this one, but I'm gonna
Okay.
ask it anyways. Pre-workout or coffee?
Matcha, actually. I do matcha. Yep, no coffee, no
Wow.
pre-workout. Matcha stabilizes the brain. You've got the green tea, so it's not I I don't like feeling, you know what I'm saying? I don't like feeling like buzz. I can do that on my own.
Huh.
But matcha, I like matcha.
So is matcha considered a tea?
It is a tea, it has very little caffeine, but it's got more of, like, stabilizing. Like, I listen to some, like, crazy zen stuff when I, like, lift and when I ruck hard. Like, I'm, like, connecting with, like, gurus and stuff. Like, you know what I mean? No heavy metal in
Yeah.
my ear. Yeah. Yeah.
Sometimes I gotta listen to those motivational, and if you work with me, you know that I'll like listen to some Rocky sometimes and some motivational
Yeah!
stuff. Okay, I listen to
I did
Rocky
that
a
with my
lot.
four-year-old the other day. We put on Rocky and did 100 jumping jacks because she figured out how to, like, the coordination part because she's 4. She's like, "I got it." I was like, "Let's do 100." So we did 100.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. And so I actually have it down here on the paper. I have pre-workout or coffee, and then I have a pointing over to tea because I was like, I got a feeling neither one of these are them. So,
Yep.
all right, what's your favorite book?
I actually brought that with me too. So this is a beautiful book. So Untethered Soul. This is an amazing book. The journey that we take within, right? That is huge. We want to so much study the world and everything outside of us. We need to study ourselves. And I don't mean judge ourselves. I mean, we need to really understand why our brain thinks the way it thinks, what we feel, when we're feeling it, and what we can do to transmute it, alchemize it, so we can raise our vibrations, so we can leave this planet better than we found it. That's a really beautiful book, Untethered Soul. It's amazing. The journey
Untethered
back to
Soul.
yourself. Yep.
Okay. I know you answered this question earlier, but what is your favorite quote?
Literally. Like the journey from your brain to your heart is it's the longest journey you're gonna take, but it is the most, I believe, the most important because I always tell my kids, your heart is 60 times to 100 times more powerful than your brain. So if your brain's in chaos, just take a deep breath, put your hand on your heart, and really, really pause and think. You know what I mean? Before you speak, before you act. And You
Gotcha.
know what feels right, you know what I mean? Like, you know what feels right and what doesn't,
Yeah.
you know? Don't let
I
anybody guilt trip you into those things. Don't let anybody, make you feel like you just do what your soul, your intuition, your heart aligns with.
Wow. I
Yeah,
knew you were gonna say that because you answered it once, and I was like, "I
it
know the answer to this one." Um, if somebody's going through if somebody's struggling right now, what
yeah.
advice could you give them, especially going through what you guys have gone through?
I want you to, like I said, I want you to pause. And I don't and this has a lot to do with your belief system, but r listen to this, and I wanna remind you that you are limitless life happening. You are literally life itself, and nothing stays the same. Like, pain does not stay. Chaos does not stay. You have to flow with it. You have to make good choices. You gotta respect yourself by honoring yourself and keeping your word to yourself every day. You are We are so powerful. Like, I can't even put it into, like, I could talk about for a million hours. And just know that tomorrow you have an opportunity to rise up,
Mm,
to be the best version of yourself, to make the best choices, to do what's right, even when no one's looking. You have that choice every single day, every single second. Just because you ate a piece of cake right now, not to make it small, doesn't mean you got to eat the whole cake. You make better choices after that. You know what I mean? And that's down to the smallest
yeah.
little bits. But yeah. So, yep.
Every every day you have a choice. Either you
Yeah,
do it or you don't.
that's right.
And
And you
if you
need to do
don't,
it.
you already know what's gonna happen, you know?
That's right. Yeah, and we'll be
Yeah.
here to remind you every day, me and Chris, and we're gonna be in your head telling you, "Get up. Nope, get up."
Nice, nice. All right. Last one.
'Kay.
Who do you carry the flag for?
I wanna say Bryson, but the entire universe. I carry the flag for anybody and everybody that doesn't believe that they can't do it, that doesn't believe in themselves. And right now, I carry the flag for Bryson and my girls in the
Mm,
most intense, meaningful, loving way, but I still remember all of you, and I feel everybody. I feel the collective, right? So I carry the
yeah.
flag every day, all day, in my sleep, in my dreams, I'm battling even. You know what I mean? So there you go.
Well, it's amazing because, like you said, is we're all more, connected together. We're all more alike than we are separate. Like
Yeah,
you see all this crap on TV and you see all this, but if you go out and walk around at the store, nobody's acting like that, you
no.
know?
Yeah,
So I love that answer because, like I said, definitely your family's first.
yeah,
But I know you carried it on the battlefield and you were carrying it over there. And I I'm pumped about this interview right here.
thank
This was
you.
awesome.
It was awesome, and you are awesome, everybody. Like, who doesn't love Chris? He's so real. You're so real. And that's beautiful because, you don't put on a show, and that is so inviting to me, and I feel safe, and, I mean, not just because 'cause you're a firefighter, right, which you probably get that, but you are real. You are the real deal, and your heart is in it, and you're so smart and kind and funny and just you're just a good dude. So I
Yeah.
support whatever it is you wanna do.
Yeah.
Always. Yeah.
I'm definitely intense though too.
That's a good thing. Intensity is good because some people don't have that, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that's
And
awesome, and you gotta have that
yeah.
power. You're powerful.
And just kind of like with you, it's like I want everybody to see the real deal because I know how fake social media and everything and podcasts and all this can be.
Yeah,
Like you were saying, well, I think you're going to edit this out. I'm like, no, like this is, I want real.
yeah,
I heard your story. I want real. I
yeah.
honestly, I didn't know, like you said, you come off so nice that I was like, whoa, she's got the Punisher in her.
Like 13 years
And
ago, that was a little different. You would have noticed the way I spoke and the way I carried myself was very much like Black Widow, you know what I'm saying? Like, "Don't mess with
yeah,
me." Yeah, so
I
I had
mean,
to retrain myself.
yeah, a lot of people don't know, and I'll even get it like when I'm out running with the flag, they don't know the story. They see me and they probably are like, "Oh, he's MAGA, MAGA. Oh, and it's like, "Hey, you don't know the story."
That's
So
right.
like nobody knows the story of the person
That's
behind what
right.
they're doing. And I didn't know the story of what you were going through, and it's
Yeah.
amazing.
Thank
And
you.
this was I'm pumped to have this as the number 2 episode. Like, I'm like, this was exactly something was telling me that I needed to do this interview.
I appreciate you, and you're so easy to talk to, like, it doesn't suck. Like, I don't feel like you're interrogating me. I'm just being me, and
Yeah.
it's nice. It's very nice. Yeah.
Yeah, well, it was amazing. I am too also, like I said, everybody, I'm gonna put everything in there for you guys to help, Cass out. Again, it's not something that we wanna see medical bills and all of this stuff,
Yeah.
when your boy is going through what you guys had to go through
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
and everything, and I don't think you should feel bad about putting that out there because
Thank you.
that's what this is all about, and that's what
And
this
it's
community
hard to ask
movement's
for help.
about.
People like you and I that just, like, make stuff happen, and we just get it done. But it's like there's some things that are out of your hands, and it's like, "Okay, well, I got resources. I'm gonna see what I can do. I'm gonna see what the universe brings me." And there you go. You know what I mean? There you go. I appreciate you. You are
Well,
a gift from the universe.
yeah, well, I definitely appreciate you, and I again, I thank you for sharing your story with us. It was amazing.
Yeah, I
Um,
appreciate you.
and I hope Bryson, it does well. I
You'll
hope
be hearing
everything's
back
go
from us. Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, I was sharing with her before this, when she was kind of filling me in with a little bit of the story. I was like, "Hey, I want to do a follow-up here, maybe 6, 7 months down the road, see where everything's at." And,
How about
you
we give a
know,
little extra tidbit here at the end for the people that actually watch the whole thing? Bryson and I are actively creating a ruck for 2027. It is called Stronger Than the Storm. And you're the first person to know that. So, for all of you that stay tuned, and yeah, that's real. So, Stronger Than
stronger
the
than the
Storm is
storm.
coming. Yep.
I love it. And, maybe we should do a collab on it.
Yeah, let's do it. I'm so down. I miss rucking
Heck
with my
yeah.
boy. Like, that's like one of my favorite. I love running with him, rucking with him. Yeah, it's a passion for sure.
Well, it's definitely awesome. Well, Cassie, again, thank you again for taking the time and, talking and
Yeah,
being a part of this.
thank you.
Yeah, definitely. And everybody, thank you again for watching Carry the Flag podcast. If you guys like this, subscribe, give us a like, give us a share. Every little bit helps. Like, I know I say this over and over and over again, but again, this is nothing without people like Cassie, without you. Like, this all is just a message without you. And this is a huge movement in this community. And having Cassie being a part of this, like, this is what it's all about. And it's amazing to hear all your guys' stories behind it all because we all have a story. So thank you again for tuning in. And again, give us a subscribe, a share, everything. Every little bit helps. Tell your friends about us. And let's just keep carrying that flag. And we carry that flag together. Thank you again.